The idea of human rights is that all human beings, irrespective of who they are or where they were born, are entitled to the same set of basic rights and freedoms. For example, the right to be free, to be safe, and to not be discriminated against. Human rights are not privileges that can be granted or revoked. They are by virtue of the fact that you exist as a human being and therefore are universal. While it sounds simple enough, the idea becomes incredibly complicated the moment you try to ensure people have access to their rights. Who decides what are the basic human rights and who enforces them and how? While the concept of human rights is very old, the UN General Assembly's adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, in 1948 is the most recent affirmation of universal human rights. The declaration lists 30 articles recognizing, among other things, the principle of non-discrimination and the right to life and liberty, the right to be safe and freedom from torture or slavery, the right to own property, the right to education and healthcare, the right to freely choose one's occupation and to be paid and treated fairly. But despite this, human rights continue to be violated time and again all over the world. The problem is that it is not at all easy to enforce human rights universally or to punish violators. The UDHR is, after all, a declaration and not a hard law, and the implementation of human rights depends upon individual countries. World over, human rights are under threat for different reasons, such as inequality and discrimination. Rights of the poor, minorities, women and children, and people with disabilities are abused in many places. Climate change and terrorism further hamper the notion of universal human rights. The protection and promotion of human rights is not limited to the United Nations or governments. Every person has an affirmative duty to help create an environment in which human rights are promoted and respected. So, what can you do? Make yourself aware of human rights and what it means to uphold them. Raise your voice against the different types of discrimination you see around yourself every day. Take a stand against instances of bonded or child labor in your vicinity. Pay fair wages to the support staff at your workplace and home. Report violations to trusted organizations that are dedicated to protecting human rights. Work in the public sphere and with NGOs to address problems you see around yourself. Together, we can work to eradicate prejudice and achieve equal rights and respect for all. In the final week of Tata Sustainability Month 2019, join us in our journey of protecting human dignity and giving back to the community we are part of. Let's take smart actions for a sustainable lifestyle.